Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, Booked with Joobie. It is that time of the month again. I am wrapping up everything that I read in July. I had a pretty good reading month this month. I did 6 physical books and 3 audiobooks, so 9 total, and I had a lot of fun with all of them. So I'm very excited to talk to you about them all. Okay, let's dive into what I read in July. So, I had a very different plan for July. If you go back to my July TBR video, I had a different plan. But things changed because my coworker gave me The Bridge Kingdom, which I actually don't have the first one. I just have the 3 because I borrowed the first one. But she gave me this book to read, and when I say that I liked it, I went and bought the next 3 in the series. So I got the first 4. Now book 5 is technically out, but book 6 is coming out, I believe, in February 2026 or around that time. So I'm going to wait to read book 5 and 6 together, because what you should know about the Bridge Kingdom series is that they are a continuation together, but they're actually 2 books, 2 books, and 2 books with 2 different or 3 different couples, 1, 2, 3. So you don't necessarily have to read all 6 of them back to back. I did read all 4 of them because I was really into it, but you don't have to. I would recommend, though, if you are going to read them, to do it 2 and 2 and 2, just because it will make more sense and the story is a continuation in each of those. Okay, so let's talk about the Bridge Kingdom series. I'm not going to go through every single book because I don't want to ruin it for you, because there's a lot that happens. So I'm just going to really talk about the first book a little bit. I'll mention a little bit about the other ones, but I'll keep it bare minimums because I don't want to do any spoilers for you all. But basically, this is the second book. This is a Traitor Queen. The first one is The Bridge Kingdom. But essentially, you're following Laura, who is a trained assassin princess who is sent off to this Bridge Kingdom to marry King Arin. Now, the 2 of them don't really know each other. Their countries are sworn enemies, but like this is supposed to be like a peace offering, like between the 2 countries, to build like a good faith or whatever. So basically, Laura has been told her whole life that King Arin and all of his people in the Bridge Kingdom are evil monsters. They're terrible people. They do bad things, but plot twist, they're not. So basically, you're going to follow the story of Laura and Arin and how their relationship progresses, because it's a forced marriage, and what steps they need to take to start basically unite these countries, and if they can unite these countries. And honestly, think trust issues. Okay, this book is just trust issues. They both don't trust each other. They don't really like each other, but it's so good because of this. Now, I'm not going to go into the other ones too much because I really don't want to ruin the series. But what I will say is that the next book is about Zara and Karis, and wow, these ones were so interesting. Now, I will give you a heads up for book 3. It does coincide at the same time as book 2. So there is a little overlap, which I found a little bit boring, only because I read them like back to back to back. Had I taken a break, I think that would have been nicer, because if I had taken a break and read 3 and 4 a little bit after 1 and 2, I think I would have enjoyed it just a bit more, because it would have reminded me of what happened instead of like I just read all that. So it kind of was a smidgy bored, but then this one made up for it. No problem. I really enjoyed the series. Now, I'm going to give you, it is a fantasy, but like there's no magic in this series. It's more just like, I want to say like medieval-y vibes, if anything. Just like very more ancient like times, if that makes sense. Like think castles and knights and that type of fighting and wars and stuff. Really, though, was a very interesting series. I will say her writing did progress a lot from the first book to the last one. So that was kind of nice to see her develop. The author is Danielle L. Jensen. It was nice to see her writing progress as an author. I will say, not I really enjoyed these, but it wasn't a 5-star read for me. It was like a solid like 3.5, sometimes like 4-ish, like depending on what I was reading, but it wasn't a 5-star, but I really enjoyed myself. And I think sometimes we get hung out on like, it's not a 5-star, I don't want to read it. Like that's just not the case for me. A solid 3-star is fun for me. If I'm having fun and a good time, I'm here for it. And I love that. So I do really recommend it, especially if you're looking to dip your toe in a little bit fantasy, even though it's not really fantasy. It's more like adventure and action, I would say, with a little romance sprinkled in there too. Although these two way heavier on the romance. But honestly, really enjoyed it a lot. Now I will say, and I want to know, Danielle L. Jensen, she makes a lot of like potty jokes and talks about like pee and poop a lot, which like, sorry TMI, but like I was just like, it's constant. Like she makes a lot of these like references throughout the books, and I was like, are you like, I think she was trying to be funny, but I don't know if I'm the only one that's noticed this or not. But if you've read this, like, did you notice that about it? And if you are going to read that and you notice it now, I'm really sorry. It's just something I noticed, but still worth a read. Okay, so that was the first 4 books, physical books, that I read in the month of July. And the last 2 are sort of together too. I am going to talk about them individually because they are different stories, but I read Every Summer After and One Golden Summer by Carley Fortune. I love these books. I love them. I love them. I love them. And let me tell you why. Let's start with Every Summer After. Now, as you guys know, or if you don't know, I'm a Canadian girly and I live in Ontario. And these books take place in Ontario, and they mention lots of stuff and references that are very relatable to me. She's also like my age, like all the characters, like when they're older, are around my age. Like I'm 32, so they're around that age, which I love. And they talk about places I know, and they talked about going to the cottage, the summer vibes, which like I had a lot of memories very similar to this. So the nostalgia for me was top notch. Like I don't know, I really like could not put these books down, and it's one of my favorite books now. Like this one in particular, although I don't know, One Golden Summer is also really good, but this one, like I've been thinking about it nonstop. So let me give you a little synopsis about it. But basically, you're following Percy and Sam, and they met when they were 13 years old. And the story goes back and forth between them growing up until the age around 18, and then them now. Basically, Percy and Sam meet when they're 13, and they basically are best friends. And this book is essentially a second chance romance. They fall in love as teens, and then something happens and they don't speak to each other for over 10 years. And then she ends up going home, which is the cottage, and they kind of are trying to figure out like how to have each other in each other's lives now. The chemistry is unmatched. The story was sweet. I really think Carley did a great job of writing. She does like each year, so like 13, 14, 15, 16. So every summer she goes back, and I think she did a really good job of writing that voice of like how a 13-year-old will talk, how 14, 15, and how they grew up together. And then also writing Percy as an adult and being like realistic and very relatable. I I don't know. And I'm going to give you a heads up on this. The ending here destroyed me a little bit, and I almost didn't. I gave this a 5-star because it deserved it, in my opinion. I understand why some people got upset, but you know, I thought on it more, and I think it made sense for the story, especially when you go into the next one, One Golden Summer. Now, mind you, you don't necessarily have to read Every Summer After to read One Golden Summer, but it will add context to the story because you're going to follow Charlie in the next one, which is Sam's brother. So I don't know. Have you read this book? If you haven't, I highly recommend picking this up for the month of August, maybe even September. Finish off your summer, even if you're not a Canadian girly, like get the Canadian vibes. It's fun. I promise you, like we have a good time here and you're gonna enjoy this. And sorry if you're also devastated. Okay, so let's talk about One Golden Summer. I did read this one immediately after, and I also adored it. I also just really love the covers of these, by the way. Like this like painting vibe, like I don't know. I'm obsessed. This one follows Charlie, who is Sam's brother, and then also Alice. And so Alice Everly, Alice Everly, Alice Everly. If you know, you know. And when you know, please shoot me a comment down below that you know what I'm talking about. Basically, Alice is a photographer and she's in Toronto and she's feeling very lackluster about her job. She's feeling very unsatisfied. You know, she's doing all this photography for high-end companies, but not really doing photography she loves. And she's an artist. And so she's really struggling with that. So her grandma takes a fall and she decides, hey, I need to get out of the city. Let's go back to Barry's Bay, which is where Every Summer After takes place. And she had gone there when she was 17 and really loved the place. And she's like, let's go there for the summer so I can just, I don't know, I need to reset my life, whatever. And Alice, when she was 17, she used to see these teenagers across the bay, which happened to be Charlie, Sam, and um, Percy. So it does relate, and the characters do show up in this book too, obviously. So Charlie is now like they're 35 years old. Alice is, I think, around 33, whatever. So around my age, which I also really appreciated. And it basically follows the story of two people that feel like they don't deserve love falling in love. And it was really beautiful. And again, it had all the Canadian vibes. And it just, like, I read this when I was at my own cottage this summer. Like, I took it up there and I was reading on my deck. And I was just so happy to be reading this book. And it really just gave me all the good summery vibes. This one, Every Summer After, definitely more coming of age story and was like more nostalgic for me, whereas this one was more like present time-y. And so I just really liked the summer vibes. So again, if you're looking for a summer book, these two, I highly recommend it. You do it for August. It'll be worth it, I promise you, because especially if you're in Canada, we have cold weather coming. So eat these up. Eat them up at the right time and you really will enjoy them. And let me know if you've read them or if you haven't read them or they're on your radar now in the comments below. Okay, let's talk audiobooks I listened to in July. I listened to 3. So the first one I listened to was the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I know it's a mouthful and it's by Grady Hendrix. Mouthful, and it's the weirdest title ever. But let me tell you, when I was like, I did not know what to expect going into this, but think of 90s in a southern neighborhood meets Desperate Housewives. So essentially, you're following some housewives who decide to make this book club. The main character is Patricia, and there's a bunch of other ragtag fun characters as well. And they meet this guy that moves to their neighborhood, and they discover that he's a vampire. And they're the only ones that know, and they have to save their families, their community, but everyone else is in love with this guy. They think he's charming. He's the best thing that ever's happened to the community. And so they have to like fight against all odds to get rid of this vampire. Now, what's really cool about it is it does have some of the regular like vampire tropes, like some of this like the classic like can't go in the sun, like very, I don't know, like very vampire-esque, but it also like was a very different type of vampire book. And for that, I really enjoyed it. And also it was just like fun. It was sort of a horror. There was parts where I was like laughing, parts I was literally horrified. Like there is some pretty gruesome scenes. And then some parts where I was just like, you go girls, like love the feminism, love them being together. I really vibed with this book. Now I did a full audiobook review of this, which is coming out next Sunday. So make sure you check that out if you haven't already subscribed and hit the notifications because I do a full breakdown of this book, spoiler free. But just so if you want a little more detail, because really this one I would listen to as well because the narrator did such a good job of bringing that like southern vibe to the story that I just like I could not put this down. It was so good. Okay, so another audiobook that I listened to this month was Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaghy. Wow, this was such a different book for me. And truly, I knew nothing about it going into it. Like, I know I say this all the time because I am a very, like, I don't necessarily want to know too much about it before going in. But this one, wow. So it's set in Antarctica on this tiny little island. And it basically follows this guy named Dominic and his three children who live on this isolated island with nobody else other than like wildlife. So think like seals and penguins and whales, like that type of thing. Like we're in the Arctic, it's cold. And one day, this woman named Rowan just washes upon the shore. So basically, this book is like full of secrets. They have very big trust issues because there's a lot of things that have happened on this island that like relate to Rowan but don't relate to Rowan. And honestly, like it was really eerie, beautifully written, and I loved everything about it. Now, I also did an audiobook review on this one. It's already out, so check on my page if you want a little more in-depth conversation about it. Again, spoiler free. But this one again, I would listen to this one. They did a good job with like the sound effects. I think it's like called B sounds or whatever. So it's like crashing waves, and they also have uh 5 different point of views, which is very interesting. It has all 3 children and the 2 adults. So it really created a lot of context for the story. I also really enjoyed the nature aspect of it, and I learned a lot. So really check this one out. And again, check out my video for a little bit more in-depth detail about the book so that you can really get all the vibes. Okay, so the last audiobook I listened to in July was All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. This book wrecked me. Um, if you're familiar with my channel, you know I'm a kind of a big baby, but this book wrecked me. I'm still unwell over it. But with that being said, highly recommend it. Um, Basically, you're going to follow Patch and Saint. Patch basically saves a girl from being kidnapped in the 70s, and Saint is his best friend, and she saves him essentially. And the story is really cool because it's decades long. It starts with them as children, and you watch them grow up into these individuals, and constantly, like, Patch is just trying to make up for the past, and Saint's trying to save him. And you follow their stories, which are together but not together, and they each take very different paths for very different reasons. And truly, like, I cried multiple times during this book. I'm still thinking about it because it was so sad, but like it's a very heavy book. So like just a just a heads up, a trigger warning here because it does have some very serious themes throughout it. It is a thriller book or mystery, I would say, more of a mystery. And but it's also like a very gripping story, and it has to deal with a lot of very sad things. So you have kidnapping, rape, um, death, grief, like a whole lot of stuff. So just keep that in mind. Now, I did listen to the audiobook for this one. I think I would have also enjoyed reading it. I did love the audio, don't get me wrong, but normally I'm like very, as soon as I know I love an audiobook, I'm like, that's it. That's the only way to consume it. But for me, this one I think I would have also enjoyed reading because the story was so interesting and the characters were interesting, and I don't know, I just everything about it was so good. And again, like I know I'm going on about a book that like wrecked me, but like that's what readers like, right? You know, like we want to be a little destroyed. I don't know what that says about us, but I'm here for it. I don't know about you guys, but definitely give this one a full listen or a read. And if you have read this one, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. And were you also super sad about it? I gave this one a 5 stars. What do you think? Okay, so July was just the best reading month for me. I enjoyed every single book I read or listened to. It was a really strong month for me, and I had a blast doing it. So let me know if you've read any of these books in the comments, or if you're planning on reading them. Let me know what you if you're excited about which ones you're looking forward to reading. If you want any more detailed videos, also let me know. Or if you have any reading or audio suggestions, please drop me a comment because I'm always looking for recommendations. I really like all genres, so I'm not too picky, and I'm always willing to try something new. But other than that, I love you all so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful August, the end of summer before all the craziness starts. And I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful reading month. If you aren't already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the notifications so you get all my videos. I do post once a week on YouTube, and I'm on shorts as well. And then I'm also on Instagram and TikTok, Booked with Joobie. I love you all so much. Happy reading. Bye.